So, Cyberpunk 2077 has finally launched after being 7 years in the works, and it's caused a lot of controversy. It's safe to say that. I've personally been enjoying the game, but I can definitely see why a lot of people are angry. Between the clunky gunplay, between the linearity of the story, between all sorts of stuff like that, I can definitely see why people are having issues with this game. Oh, you really thought I wouldn't mention the bugs. But anyway, we all know what you came here for. Clowning on the game's journalist who found something that really wasn't that offensive and decided to make a point that wasn't even there. So let's take a look at it. So this is an article from VG247 called Cyberpunk 2077's Attitudes Towards Women Are More 1997 Than 2077. It's an insanely stupid article saying that women are not respected in this timeline of 2077, which is complete bullshit, and I'm gonna show you why. I'm gonna explain exactly why. So this next screenshot goes on to say that Cyberpunk's best characters are women. Panam and Judy, Kick-Ass are great characters. You know what? They're not wrong. That's actually true. And then she says that there was much to celebrate about the game's presentation of women. So, what's the problem exactly? So, then it's saying that Cyberpunk 2077 acts like it loves women, but Night City itself hates them, which is pretty bullshit, dude. Considering that there's several women in like positions of power like Rogue, Panam, Judy, Evelyn. There's a lot of examples of them, so I don't really see how Night City hates them. She then goes on to say that in any game with a character creator, historical statistics show that in general more players will choose male because more men play these major games more than any other gender. This is true, but the rest of it is pretty stupid. So I always play as a woman knowing that I'm playing the game wrong, is what she says next, which is just infinitely stupid. Like, you should not feel ashamed about playing as a woman in a video game. It's not like you're contributing to the patriarchy and you're oppressing women by playing as a woman. That's not happening, okay? That's just not how it is. Like, sis, it doesn't go that deep. Like, shit, bro, guess I gotta feel like a terrible piece of garbage for playing as a man in Genshin Impact. It's just not cool, bro. Because in a game with all of these waifus and whatever, you should be playing as a woman and not a man, or both. You can only play as women. Same logic applies here. Like, you should not be ashamed about playing as your preferred gender. Like, I don't lose any sleep over that, bro. And I can assure you that the majority of female gamers don't feel this way either. Like, I doubt that any of them care that much. This journo then decides to cite the example of Sandra Dorset, who's someone you save in the very first mission together with Jackie. So basically, she's dying, she's bleeding out, and naked in a bathtub, not doing too hot. And also, she's saying that this game's journal is saying that a man in the bath with Sandra is given the dignity of underwear, but Sandra is not. While Sandra is the most unmissable dying naked woman, she's far from the last. And we see several women dead on the floor as decoration, often naked, and stuff like that. And honestly, this is just insanely stupid to me. Because if you don't know, basically, you save Sandra Dorset, she survives, and then proceeds to be a bigger part of the plot, I'm pretty sure. I know she's part of a side quest. I haven't played that one yet, but I know she's there. But anyway, here's a better example to reinforce against this journo. Next, she decides to use Evelyn Parker as an example, who is honestly a pretty good character. She didn't live long enough, but she was pretty cool. So then she's saying, at first it seems like she'll be one of the game's strong female leads, which I agree 100% with. I think she should have had more screen time. However, then she's saying she's cool, stylish, even if we accept the fact that we meet her at a strip club while being given a virtual naked lap dance, even though we are being given a lap dance. Not at all. Next up, she also says how, like, Evelyn was scared around by a big tough man and called fuckable me. Speaking of which, I'll provide the context to that scene in a moment.
You look like a cut of fuckable meat, are you?
Tell me, Miss Games Journal, does that look like the good guy? In the slightest. To answer the question of OBS idiot known as BT3025, aka the clone of me locked in my basement, no, he's not the good guy. In fact, he's just an asshole. He's meant to be an asshole too. So this is an example of Games Journals twisting it. It's not like V or Johnny Silverhand or one of the good guys said that to her. It's one of the fucking bad guys. What'd you expect him to say? Oh, you look quite nice today, Evelyn. I hope you have a very good day. That's not how it works. She then proceeds to give a few examples of, like, women being sexualized, and and it seems pretty fine at first, right? Like, it seems like she's making a point until you realize Cyberpunk's in a dystopia, so it's basically supposed to be fucked up and immoral and all of that. If you've read this far without rushing to the comments / Twitter to berate me, then you might be wondering what the point is, she asks. Yeah, Miss Games Journalist, I just proceeded to Twitter to write an entire essay raging about how you don't recognize the beauty of Cyberpunk and anyone who doesn't suck CDPR's cock is a fucking retard. But anyway, let's take a look at her point. Honestly, I want to see her point. Let's hear it out. Well, her point is that, like, most games do not sexualize women this much and don't oppress women this much, even though we know that's bullshit. Cyberpunk doesn't oppress women. And that women are hypersexualized a lot, and that they're supposed to be less sexualized, even though men are also sexualized in the Cyberpunk universe. She also states that there's still a big idea that violence is the solution to any problem. When it's funny because, well, you can literally negotiate your way out of a few problems in Cyberpunk. Like during one of the first missions, there's an option to negotiate with a Militech agent to cut a deal with a gang. It's not the only way to just shoot your way out of everything in this game. The problem isn't that these things exist in Cyberpunk, it's that we give them a pass to exist. I mean, again, it's a dystopia. She also raises the question, what would the game be like without the bugs? To answer your question, it would be playable, mostly for the console players. But no, the answer that she gives is a game that hates women. The vague defense offered against this has been that the game is a dystopia. Well, that does seem like a pretty good defense, to be honest. Like, if it was a utopia and women were sexualized as much, then, I mean, there's a problem with your society, evidently. However, if not, then if it's a dystopia, then, I mean, it makes more sense because dystopias are fucked up. She then asks, like, what did these dead and naked women add to the game's storytelling or wider ideas? Well, I'd assume that it adds a sense of, hey, Night City's fucked up. And then she finally asks, how are they offset by the likes of Rogue, Pan Am, Judy? Well, I'd say pretty well, to be honest, considering that they're actually really strong female characters. Not because of their gender, but because they're simply well written. We can't bleat on about trying to make gaming a more diverse and welcoming environment, then celebrate the sorts of games which make the space so unwelcoming in the first place. Well, I mean, right now Cyberpunk isn't being celebrated. And finally, the magnum opus of this absolutely beautiful article. Cyberpunk 2077 isn't just an example of why men play AAA games more, it's an attempt to keep it that way. And that's the ending of the article. That was probably the best video game article I've read in my entire life. No, I'm joking. For those of you motherfuckers who can't understand sarcasm, I am joking right there. Like, of all the things to complain about in this game, you could have said something about the bugs. You could have said something about the linearity of the story. You could have said something about how clunky the gunplay can be sometimes. But no, you chose a point that wasn't even there, a point that was pretty much null and void. And don't pull that bullshit that, Cyberpunk. Actually, no, that we're trying to gatekeep gaming. Honestly, if you look at it, dude, most male gamers would be salivating at the thought of, like, women playing video games. Like, holy shit, what a revolutionary idea. Definitely not like that's how it can be, anyways. Like, I highly doubt that CD Projekt Red was just in the development room and thinking, hey, you know who we need to keep out of playing this game? Women. Like, seriously, I don't think that was the case, not in the slightest. They were probably thinking, hey, how can we appeal to everyone? However, in the end, I mean, they did push out a half-baked game. They didn't take into regard the customer, so there's that. But anyway, that's the video for today, guys. No outro song because I'm too lazy to edit it in, and have a great day.